I'm with Ru Weerasuriya from Ready at Dawn, and you guys kicked some serious ass last year with your VR experiences. You had two very prominent ones, Lone Echo and Echo Arena, and you're back again this year with a brand new game. Tell us all about it.
Well, it's called Echo Combat, and it's our first foray into using a zero gravity movement model in a first-person shooter mode. It's been really exciting because actually this was born out of the same game jam that built Echo Arena. This was just in a back burner, and we wanted to make it so as soon as the other two games came out, the team jumped on this, and this was the one actually that we wanted to do next.
Well, what I found fascinating is because you guys dealt with anti-gravity as your locomotion model and the freedom that provides, it's almost like when you're playing the flying games in VR, the driving games in VR, they have a lot less proclivity to make you motion sick.
Yes.
Was that something that you guys discovered through your R&D?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we saw already that was the right way to go about it, but the biggest problem for us was truly understanding that your legs cannot work. We know that. We already know it, unless you get you're in Ready Player One, with the perfect machine basically, and treadmill that allows you to move.
Yeah.
Your legs needed to, in some ways, disappear. And we used our hands as our new legs and our new feet, and that allowed us to understand that a big part of motion has to do with the way you relate to the world around you. Not what you see, but what you touch. And when you walk, and your inner ear basically, kind of like adapts to it, it's in some ways the same thing as what we're doing with cheating the inner ear and the brain to think that you're actually attaching to the world, a tactile attachment to the world that allows you to move, which your brain goes, that feels completely natural.
Where are we fighting in the game? Are they on is it in the universe of Lone Echo, like on the ships and the different, outer space, interstellar type environments that we've been in?
No, actually, well, it's in that environment. So imagine that Lone Echo, which is the kind of the grounding factor in that game, because that's where the IP was built around. Is based another century from now, right?
Okay.
So what we built Echo Arena first, and now Echo Combat as are almost. Imagine that games were built at the time for people to play.
Okay.
And you were able to put maybe a VR headset and control a robot basically going around. That's kind of the environment. So they are their own environments, their own arenas, like a holodeck almost.
Yep.
And that's what both of these are supposed to be. They're supposed to be it's supposed to be a sport that will be played in 100 years from now.
Yep.
And this one is more like a recreational shooter that will be played on a holodeck in another century.
Like paintball in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Paintball.
With Echo Combat, are you guys kind of making this a little bit more accessible, like your take on a shooter, but it's not necessarily real bullets that are ripping you apart?
Exactly. I think that's the thing about the Echo universe for us was, although Lone Echo is a little bit serious, Echo Arena didn't take itself too seriously, which built actually something really great, a great community behind it. And for us, addressing the Echo universe in a shooter was exactly the same thing as you just described it. We kind of compare it to laser tag almost in some ways.
Yeah.
It is everything a shooter should be in a tactile sense and a tactical sense as well. But at the same time, not having that pressure and that kind of like feel of this heavyweight shooter, which built kind of a cool like a mechanic and a cool social interaction. Right now we play it all the time, and we feel that it stays true to the Echo universe while giving you the advantages of a first-person shooter.
And also kind of opens it up to a whole group of people. And I think the Echo universe that you guys are creating is something that Oculus is really needed, right? You guys can make hardcore games, and you've done that many times in the past, but the platform needs accessibility. It needs people to come to it.
Absolutely. I think you're right. Like getting people first and foremost to understand what VR is and that it's different than anything you've experienced.
Yeah.
You need to build apps that allow people to go it can be an app and experience a game, but it needs to kind of break something in your head, like a boundary in your head. And Echo Combat, as a step in the Echo universe, is probably the most accessible, as you said it, the most accessible game we've made up to now, because there is an easy barrier of entry, but then everybody finds their own way of playing.
Are you guys doing an Echo Battle Arena mode or Battle Royale mode?
Is that the question that's going around now?
I don't know.
Oh man, actually, it's funny that you say that because we didn't even ask that question internally. So you are the first person to ask that question, and it's probably a question we'll ask internally. I don't think so. I think that right now the game is not built for that, and the VR community is not built for it yet.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, it's another level of immersiveness into Battle Royale. It'll be pretty intense, though.
Yeah. Well, I've heard people that have made the jump into VR development, they become evangelists for the medium, and they become fully focused on it, and they kind of sometimes leave the traditional game making behind. Is that something that you would say about Ready at Dawn? Are you guys ready to leave the sort of two-dimensional screen world behind and just focus on VR?
Well, Well, I would tell you that I don't know if we're ready now or if we will ever be ready for it.
Yeah.
One thing that I understood, at least the whole team as well understood from VR, was that it wasn't just about, building games and shifting the company a new way. It was about learning.
Right.
What we learn in VR, we're going to basically bring back to traditional gaming. What we learn in traditional gaming, we're going to put into VR. Lone Echo, Echo Arena, Echo Combat, they could not exist without our past.
Right.
The work we've done on traditional, hardware, it was a necessity in order to build these games, and I don't see us being able to extricate that. As a matter of fact, I think that VR would suffer for us if we didn't still make traditional console games. We have one actually in development right now. We have one in incubation as well.
Right on.
So it's going to be a balance for the company.
You've got a lot of fans out there for Lone Echo. Is there a sequel coming? Are you guys going to be talking about that again soon?
Well, Jason kind of let the cat out of the bag. I think, what was it, OC4, right?
Yeah.
I think he went on stage and he said like, hey, there's more coming out basically with the story of Liv and Jack. It's something that we've had in our minds when we created the IP, so there's definitely a little bit of that actually going on, and we've been thinking about it.